Hello friends and sunflowers, Enhypen recently had 2 different performances and we're going to be covering both of them in this video. One of them of course is the MMA performance and the other one is the Mama performance. And of course they did include another title track at the end of their Mama performance, so let's get excited for their comeback in January. Anyways, let's just go into it. So, starting off with Enhypen's MMA performance, it starts off with, I think, a girl who is like walking and texting. I believe this is part of their VCR because it's, I don't know. If it's not, then I'm just... Anyway, she has some hashtags that I could not find a translation of, but I used Google Image Translator. And it said, "The day I wish to leave, the moment when music comes true and dream of deviance." So honestly, I have no clue. If this is part of the story, then the girl might be like the hero, like the heroine that they've shown to be part of the webtoon. But yeah, that's all I've got, so let's continue. The words that appear after this are of course, "Welcome to N-World." And their VCR starts by showing us a grey forest. Dull and dead, because vampires. And like several other vampire-feely things like, you know, bats. And the castle on the faraway hill. And of course, the blood-red moonlight that is associated with their vampirism. It closes in on an invitation on the ground, which is not a new concept for Enhypen. We've had a lot of invitations in their universe so far. In Drunk Dazed, the invitation that we saw was for their bloody birthday party, which in my previous videos I've mentioned might actually be a parallel to a much older invitation in regards to the Enhypen universe, in which we saw at the end of last year's Mama performance, which said, "Dear Enhypen, I welcome you all who have finally arrived here after traveling on a long road. Life and death mix, up and down flip, a grand carnival where order has overthrown time. Everyone is invited. We wait for the day we will meet. Sincerely, yours." Seems just as sinister as the first time. And currently, I believe that that was the event that turned the boys into vampires, not necessarily something that they knew the consequences of. So that's great. We then of course got an intro segment, which goes from the Red Moon to 6 of the 7 members. Obviously, Jungwon is the one missing. They are standing inside of the gate, but just outside of the doors of the castle, and this is kind of important, because like I said, everyone is there except for Jungwon. However, he is in the next shot, standing just inside those doors, so he's the first one in the castle. And I think this sort of adds weight to the idea that Jungwon was the first one to be turned into a vampire. We've sort of seen hints of this before, like in Given Taken, he's the first one who has his fangs, and how he's always the one blowing out the birthday candles and stuff like that. So I think this is just more confirmation that he was the first. Plus, he's the leader, so... I do wonder if the order of the dance break at this part is meant to show like the order they were all turned after him, but it's really hard to tell. The pose they take is definitely meant to like mimic fangs though, like these are the fangs. So yeah, it's definitely trying to tell us something in the choreography. I just don't know to what extent, as usual. The clothing that they're wearing here kind of looks like the clothing that they wore in the Up version of their previous album, which is heavily associated with like that past, like the past timeline or parallel universe that happened in the past. But it also seems to have the logo for their school, which is Decilis Academy, which we see very prominently in Tamed Dashed. So I want some answers on that front, because it's a little confusing right now, but let me know your theories about, like, is the school in both universes? The music itself does actually feel very, like, marching band. You know what I mean? Just like the instrumentation of it makes me think of like they're in a marching band, which is very school focused usually. And then there's also a part in the choreography where like Hisung and Sungun seem to almost face off with one another. Now they were in opposite sides in the Drunk Dazed music video, which I tend to like see as like 2 opposite sides of some sort of clash between the members, specifically in regards to like how to deal with their vampirism. But interestingly, their dance is broken up by Jungwon, who is almost always the neutral party. He's also in the middle in this particular confrontation. Again, might just be cool choreography, but it also happens in the Mama performance, so I don't know, I just feel like there's definitely some form of conflict happening between the members, but then also it'll go into the webtoon as well with the werewolves, so I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be a really interesting dynamic if they don't even get along within their group. I want more answers. And this is actually how I felt like similarly to TXT's MMA performance, because there's just a lot going on and you're like, wow, this choreography feels like it's very significant, but then you're like, what if it isn't? But I think it is. I think it is. Like, come on, like, is Sunu directing people here? Or is that just meant to look cool? Towards the end, this screen starts to blur and kind of get that like rainbowy effect as if they were drunk or dazed, which I assume assume happens when they drink blood. And not surprisingly, of course, they go straight into performing that song. My collar has been crooked this whole time. Whoops. Don't mind that. Drunk Days seems to reference the carnival, the party that the invitation took them to, and possibly others. There's even little, like, tables in front of the set, which I find really cute, because they're, like, at a little dinner party, and I love that. There's not a lot to talk about this stage otherwise, since, like, it doesn't actually change from the intro. At the end of this song, though, it does glitch into what looks like the warehouse from Let Me In, filled with, like, the red light. There are some shots with security cameras, which I've mentioned before, does sort of add to the idea that, like, them as idols are being constantly watched by people. Every action that they take is like constantly being watched and seen and monitored. Ties into the idea that they're like talking about idols just as much as they're talking about the idea of vampirism. And yeah, truly, an idol and any celebrity often has a lot of people paying attention to them. Anyway, so they're like walking through the halls. Nikki paints a canvas. And I don't know if it was supposed to reference the Charybdis version, but he does also have paint in his Charybdis concept photos. And it shows us a blue flower, which seems to be a stark contrast to the red that lives everywhere in this warehouse. We've never actually directly seen this flower in the Enhypen universe before. I'm not 100% sure about its significance, but I do have some guesses. Educated guesses, I hope. It does seem to be tied to the blue drink that appears, which also appeared in the Let Me In music video. There's a scene where they like kind of look like it's turning into powder and the powder is going into the, what is it, a beaker, I guess? And then later it's mixed into the water. So I do think the blue flower is the blue drink. I wonder if it somehow counters the effects of vampirism or something like that, because it does seem, like I said, that contrast to the red, which we know the red is associated with the vampirism. Or is it like a way to become human again? I hope we get more information on this because it does look like really significant. Also, there is a slight difference between the Let Me In music video and this interlude VCR. In the music video, Sunu drinks it before dropping it. We don't see him drink it here. I kind of assume he did. We don't know for sure. But he does drop the drink as if he's the only one that can have that. No one else can have that. And I think that's really significant in both cases. Like, he was the only one who could indulge in the blue. Although, I was gonna mention Jake in his hype version had a lot of blue in it, but I don't know if that's relevant or not. There's no context. Anyways, that's getting off topic. Let's go back. There's also a part where Jungwon seems to run into another version of Jungwon wearing like a white shirt. This is obviously another reference to Let Me In, where they essentially met each other from different realities. And you'd think with like all of these references to Let Me In that they would perform Let Me In next, but no, they actually performed Tamed Dash next. Which, if you think about it, makes sense, because Tamed Dash also had that idea of multiple realities waiting for them. It's one and the same. There's two different versions of reality that are very heavily highlighted in the Tamed Dash music video. One of them might be the cursed reality, and one of them might be the blessed reality. Just saying. I'm getting ahead of myself though. We're not even there yet. I think this is a pretty clear indication that like they're switching universes within the performance at this time. They even swap clothes. Their clothing here is a more like sports jersey type thing because of course they play like rugby. Apparently incorrectly, but they're playing rugby in the Tamed Dash music video, so this is just carrying on that theme. They're probably also playing this in the webtoon, so again, carrying on that theme. The numbers that they're wearing on these jerseys completely match up with the numbers that they wore in that music video. It's also on these photo cards that come with the album. So Heesung, for example, is center position, and he's always #1. And these are certified Dark Moon with Enhypen content, by the way. Definitely has a lot to do with the story and the webtoon, and so those numbers are probably their player numbers, but they are significant, and they are consistent, so. By the way, yes, there is a video coming on Webtoon. If you didn't see, I was sick for like a while. So I literally filmed it like 2 days after the Webtoon was announced, and then it's still not done. But I'm gonna post it after these videos, so that's like my next video to come out probably after this one. So look forward to my breakdown for the Webtoons that are coming in January. Okay, anyway. The setting for this video seems to be like a mix of a colorful, drunk, dazed inspired town and then a beach, which again kind of matches the music video and the albums. Again, though, the set doesn't really change a lot here, so there's not a lot for me to like describe in that sense. Although the white ball does appear, which is like from their more modern day time, which I believe is the blessed timeline. Again, getting ahead of myself, we're not there yet. And I must say, they clearly practiced passing this ball like, a lot, because if I tried to do that, I would definitely drop the ball, and they did not drop the ball. I would have missed it. You know, I would have messed it up. This whole performance for the MMA in general does seem to sort of tell us a timeline. I feel like it's like showing us like the contrast really well, and it's going from this to this to this to this to this to this, and I feel like we're able to see things in a linear form, and I really appreciate that, because I kind of feel like Hive does not care about chronological order and time in general over at their headquarters. So I appreciate any form of linear storytelling. Anyways, let's quickly talk about the Mama performance. They performed 2 songs at Mama. Again, it was Drunk Dazed and Tamed Dashed. I'm not even gonna pretend that we didn't all freak about the ending, so yes, they did reveal that the next title track is going to be called Blessed Cursed. And I think it ties in perfectly to literally everything we've seen so far. One reality in time is blessed, and the other is cursed. I also think it's pretty obvious which is which. Anyways, first, let's start with the Drunk Dazed performance. Again, it starts with the timeline showing us that it is part of, you know, the Give and Taken side, and I believe that the Give and Taken side, they are cursed. So, going into this part, this is the cursed timeline. They're the ones that can't go out into the light, they seem to be oppressed. I would consider that more of a cursed timeline. Their vampirism may even be seen as a curse, which is why in the Give and Taken music video, for example, we saw them, like, taking out their fangs. There's, like, a jar of fangs in one particular frame, almost, of that music video. And so the choreography right here does actually seem to emphasize this fact, because, of course, we really get the feeling that they're being trapped. And that sucks, because their counterparts were just, you know, playing out in the sun, no problem, having a great old time. So, the background of this dance is nothing new. It looks very similar to the MMA performance one. I do think that the background looks a little bit more like the Give and Taken music video than it does like a castle, but I do think it's possibly indicative of, like, the same timeline. Unless there's actually 3 timelines, which, I mean, maybe. And then it goes into Tamed Dashed. It starts with a scene that mimics that of the Drunk Dazed music video, where Sunghoon does, like, his amazing little, like, solo dance in the, like, raining of blood, which, of course, mimics the music video exactly. And it's to some creepy music, and I honestly wish that this part was longer, because he was nailing it, you know? I love it when they dance in water. I don't know, something about that is just very epic. You know what I'm saying? Tamed Dashed here, just like their MMA performance, is more themed on the whole, like, night ball, like, sports thing. By the way, the home team in the back is actually losing 11-30, so that sucks. I wonder if this is, like, gonna appear in the webtoon, like it starts out and they're losing or something like that. Imagine them losing to the werewolves. Oh my god. I love this drama. I'm, like, making it up in my head. There's absolutely no proof of this, and I'm just speculating wildly, but I'm like, yes, I'm here for the drama I've made up. Anyways, the song has, like, a really epic dance break in it, where they show, you know, again, their a skill in being able to somehow catch the ball mid-dance. Don't know how they've done that. And it kind of shows off some vampire powers, which I found was really cool, because the ball was, like, genuinely spinning in between their hands. I don't know how they did that, but I loved it. And then right after that, there's actually, like, a prominent part, which, again, this is part of the choreography, so it's open to interpretation. Kind of felt like Nikki and Sunwoo were, like, on opposite sides, kind of supposed to be fighting for the ball or something like that. I mean, I guess they could be cooperating, but we have seen hints that, you know, Nikki and Sunwoo are very aware of each other in previous music videos, especially Drunk Dazed and Tamed Dashed, where, you know, Sunwoo was plotting, and in Tamed Dashed, Nikki was plotting. He's the one who swaps the balls. I've speculated a lot about them, and this is just adding to my speculation that I'm like, something's going on here. I don't know why I did that. So let me know how intentional you think that is, especially because it's actually, like, Jungwon comes between them again, and once again, like, Jungwon is that neutral party. So anyways, as I previously said, it ends with one of the most exciting things, the reveal of the next title track. I mean, it's 99% that it's going to be the title track for their January 10th repackaged album called Dimension Answer, and hopefully this means that we're gonna get some answers, because I do feel like this actually answers a couple questions. I do have more questions, like, are there only 2 timelines? Is one timeline blessed and one timeline cursed? Or, like, universes, dimensions, you know what I mean? Or are there multiple timelines past that? Because they have said, like, multiple realities wait for us. Which, to me, multiple, I mean, yeah, multiple can just be 2, but, like, multiple is, like, more than that in my head. I don't know. Maybe that was just me interpreting it wrong and it's actually only been 2 this whole time. But I kind of feel like there's at least 3. Because even in Let Me In, I kind of felt like there was like the whole space timeline, and then there was the museum timeline, and then there was the like forest museum timeline. You know what I mean? But maybe the space timeline and the museum timeline were the same because they had the gummy bear. I don't know. So I want some answers, and hopefully Answer will give us some answers. I said this in the short video that I posted as well, but I do think it's interesting that it's coming out slightly before the webtoon, because I think the webtoon is supposed to come out on the 16th of January. I wonder if it's going to like lead into what the start of the webtoon will be. If I was creative director, that's what I would do. I would be like, hey, everyone's following these music videos, let's use the music videos to propel it straight into the story of, like, into the start of the story of the webtoon or something. Even if the webtoon just starts with, like, a one-off chapter that, like, is referenced by the ending of this upcoming music video, I think that would be pretty cool. Also, I don't know if they released a track list. If they did, I haven't seen it. But if they do, and there's new B-sides on it, what B-side do you think they would make a music video for? Because I'm holding on to hope that they are making a B-side music video for this comeback, because they didn't make one last time. And there are several songs that deserve a music video that are B-sides. So anyways, sorry this video wasn't longer. I wish their performances were longer, but there's still like some really exciting things to talk about there, so I'm really excited for their comeback. Can you tell? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so that you're notified every single time that I post a video. All of my social media is linked in the description below. The seagulls are talking today. And of course, I want to give a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for your support. As it is, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, everyone. I never say that. Stay sunny, everyone. Bye!